Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. If you haven't seen a Hot Take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a movie. I almost said game. A movie, and that movie is Daniel Craig's final Bond film, No Time to Die. My name is Ragucci, Anthony Ragucci, and here to discuss, as always, Trio, Chris Trio.
It is. I am here.
And finally, our guest. He's been on before. He needs no introduction. Wellman. Casey Wellman.
So what are our double O's then?
All right, don't think too hard.
No, I want to. What would your double O be?
Is there only
Because I would go
009?
7
So
because like I love my favorite number is 7, but that's just because my birthday. But that's too obvious. Like,
see, mine would be 27 or 7. There's no 0027.
27.
So am I 027 or
how
would I
many
have to
other double O's
settle?
are there?
I think it's only up to 9.
I think.
Do you ever meet any other double O's in these movies? Isn't there
Yeah,
one?
Alec Trevelyan in Goldeneye is a 00. There's a lot. There's actually a lot of 00s in Bond besides Bond.
Naomi's the first in the Craig. Oh yeah.
Hold it!
I mean, that's
Hold
not,
it!
I mean, that's not smart.
Hold it!
Anywho,
Anyhow.
boys.
Spoiler.
Trio, let's start with you.
okay.
And then we'll flip it over to Casey, and then I'll go last because I'm just
Side note, nice control there. You both were like,
I'm just the most hype. Trio, what did you think of the final Daniel Craig Bond?
I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was kind of a silly, fun ride with a lot of interesting gadgets.
Silly?
Very silly.
Silly?
Yeah, I don't know. I found it to be just a lot of fun. Like, I felt like it wasn't taking itself too seriously. I thought it was a bit too long, personally, but I walked out and had a lot of fun, and I think it was a nice little shebang for Craig to end on. But overall,
one viewing.
one viewing. Yeah, I saw it on Sunday night. But again, the thing that really did scare me was the runtime. I was like 2 hours, 34 minutes, something like that. I hope I wasn't bored, which I wasn't. I wasn't like checking my phone or anything like that, which is always good, especially for a long movie like that. But yeah, overall, I thought it was just a fun, great time. That's really all I came out of it with. What about you, Casey?
Good review. I agree. It was after some thinking about it that I found it a little enjoyably silly. Like they did like a good job, I guess, paying sort of like homage to like the campy Bond and like a lot of the over the top stuff in terms of like gadgets and just like it was a very like painted a good picture of like where it was and where it's come to. Did a good job of blending like Craig's seriousness and continuity while still kind of being like, this feels like a classic Bond movie, like in certain scenes. So
There's a lot of
in certain
quips.
dialogue. Yes. Yeah. The I'm sure we'll get to the one. I guess might not be obvious saying it, but the one obvious like one-liner, funny line. Like
There's a few that I had
they had to pencil it in for him. Like he had to get it out.
Absolutely.
But I really, really enjoyed it. I think not being tied to like I've only seen parts of. I can't even tell you if I've seen an entire Bond movie apart from Craig's movies. Like I've seen parts of them. I'm familiar with all the actors. Like I recognize them when I see them. I know all kinds of names of them, but like when I think about it, I'm like, I really don't think like Austin Powers I'm familiar with, not James Bond. So it's like
Absolutely.
I really, really liked Craig's Bond. Like I thought, and this was a justifiably great ending for him.
He was awesome.
Ending the series, or his tenure. Without getting too into it, I guess. But I thought the pacing kind of different. I thought the pacing was perfect. Like there was never a point where I was like, can this get fucking somewhere? Like every time they got through, if it was a 3-act play, it was like by the end of Act 1, I was like, dude, they got me hooked for Act 2. And by the end of Act 2, I was like, oh my God, I don't want it to be Act 3 yet. And yeah, so like I never felt. There was one point I went with my parents. Like I was going by myself, and I went with my parents, and just because my dad likes Bond, he was like, oh,
he's like, let's go. Yeah.
Dude, my mom checked her phone at one point, and I went,
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, get down.
I hate, Mom, I love you. I hate when people check their phones.
When you
in
checked your
theaters.
phone at Venom, I was like,
dude, it drives
even
me
though
up
I
a
hated
wall.
that movie, it drives me nuts.
It snaps me out of it. Like
Yeah.
I'm so immersed, and then I see a phone, especially like right next to me. I was like,
Sure.
I did not come
Fuck
from.
off.
I was like, I did not come from you. That is bullshit. Don't do that. But
If you're gonna come, you leave that at home.
yeah,
I think if you are getting your phone out and like proceeding to text for 5 minutes, it's
No.
one thing.
No.
But if you flash your phone,
she
I'm
was
not
trying to
tempted.
check a message. Like, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it for her. She fell on her own.
No phone at the movie
Yeah.
theaters.
But
I'm a big
I guess
advocate.
short story long, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Big fan. Yeah, I would see it again in theaters. Cinematic,
yeah, I don't know if I would.
I'd second
cinematically
that.
pleasing.
I think
Like,
this movie
enjoyed
is
seeing that in
is
theaters.
well worth a second viewing. That being said, I think this was the way Daniel Craig had to go out. There was no other way it could have been done. Like, the emotion is there, the stakes are even higher, both personally and like on a like, you know, like worldly threat level. I never felt like every Bond villain in Craig's catalog were like, oh, this guy's gonna blow up the world, or like, you know, they usually seemed pretty in their own thing. Like, I don't know, they weren't like, you know, there was no worldly threat.
It's weird stuff like we're gonna stop the water, or like in Quantum of Solace or something.
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
We're gonna stop this very localized issue.
Exactly.
Right,
with
right.
Quantum. So,
No.
And, you know, this movie is very different for a Bond film. It's nothing like any of the others, but then again, Daniel Craig's Bond was never a typical Bond, so I feel like that just makes sense. Like, everything about this movie, like everything that's came before, the characters, even the new characters in this movie, it all feels like it really matters, and it really, like, you can tell the people making this movie and the actors really cared about what they were doing. Like, and not one point did I feel like, I don't know, there's something just about this that, like, it really felt like climactic, like everything was coming to an end, and the characters knew it, like, in the movie, and then like the actors knew it in, like, as they were acting. Like, the movie had such a weight to it. It is a little long. I think that's a fair critique. But
I do feel like when you have like not a penultimate. What's after penultimate? Like a final movie
Ultimate,
like
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
you
ultimate.
do kind of have a bit of leeway in that for me. That's why I didn't really hold that against
all
it
the
as
other
much.
Bonds are like 2:20. You know, 2 hours 20 minutes, like all of them.
Oh, I didn't actually realize. I thought Quantum was like nothing.
Quantum is like an hour 40.
Yeah.
And
you have
again,
to unpack
blame
and then tie up a lot.
blame
Yeah.
the writer's strike for that one. But yeah, I
will
this
say
movie was fucking awesome. I loved it.
one thing I really didn't care for was the villain. I
Savin?
thought Ramy Malik was just playing a weird
Yeah.
he was just like he was just this weird dude that's like, I'm going to blow up the world, and then they showed him for like 20 minutes. I don't know. He
I have
didn't. He was
questions
he
about
was
him,
not
yeah.
really compelling to me
I
whatsoever.
like his like Spectre
We
motivation.
didn't get it. Why? What was it? See that I will like a lot of the story. I'm not gonna lie, I did not catch. I was so busy focusing on what's on screen, I wasn't really aware of why
They
we were there.
really
Like I really like when they got to the one party, I was like, wait, what are we doing here? I was really confused.
well. I mean,
when got
it
in.
was just a Spectre party for that.
Are we keeping this like spoiler free?
I was
right
gonna
now,
say.
or is
So
this
do we
off
want
the
to start
rails,
going
like-
into?
I mean, like
Because I think there's some stuff
there were the general thoughts. We're gonna start
'Cause
talking
I
in the
agree
movie
with-
in no
I would
particular
agree with
order.
Trio, but I'd need to like
to
expound
explain
upon
what
it.
you know.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
So spoiler. Why did he go to a Spectre party as himself? Like obviously he's gonna be caught there.
I wouldn't say that.
No, I mean I would. It's Spectre. They know exactly who James Bond is. Like what?
I get. I
that's,
don't know.
So that's what confused me. Once we got in, and they like shined the light on him. I'm like, oh, he's at a Spectre party.
You didn't know that from the beginning?
No, I was very confused. I didn't. I
Yeah.
thought he was just going to look for that Russian scientist man.
Isn't he presumed dead?
Who?
Bond.
At that.
No.
Well, by MI6 at that point in the movie,
That's
he's
They don't know
technically-
what's going on with him.
He was presumed dead
don't they
until Naomi
explicitly?
found. Well,
That's what I'm saying. Don't they
They
explicitly?
think
says
he's
it.
dead because he's so far off the grid.
They
Yeah.
think that's what I mean. They think
No.
he's dead until Jamaica, and then Naomi finds him.
Just know me.
Naomi finds him. You know what I'm talking about. You know?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
She finds him, and then it's like confirmation that he's there. The CIA, because then M even says like the CIA's got the upper hand or whatever because Felix finds him talks to him before they actually get to him.
Right.
And they're like,
But
"Oh,
it seems
we
like they
presumed
kind
you
of
were
found him
dead,"
at the
like-
exact same because she's
Yeah,
there
yeah.
that night.
But they got to him first. Like it was like kind of they weren't sure, but they had an idea. So I'm wondering if, to your point, like if Spectre also presumed him dead.
They might have, but
good point.
Even though it seems like Blofeld like kind of knew what was going on with him and knew that he was like he knew his whole history with Madeline. So,
Madeline
yeah,
is
it gets a little dicey, but like I didn't really even think about it like that way. I was like, he's just James Bond. He goes to things that.
No,
James
I know.
Bond.
It's just
like,
that was one part where I was just like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me at all. Ana de Armas.
Also,
I wanted more of her so bad.
Oh my God, Paloma! Like what?
She was so good in the. We had her for like 15 minutes maybe.
It was
and
great.
she was awesome.
but she did not overstay her welcome, which was perfect.
That is
like,
very that is
you
correct.
needed of her,
No, you're right.
Anything more than that would have been like you're just keeping her
The way they,
fan
like,
service.
made
Played
her-
off each other.
The way they're like they get out and he has. By the way, I hate that Russian scientist character. And they get out and she's like, oh, okay, that's it. You're good. And she's like, you did. He's like, you did great.
You
He's
were
like,
excellent.
"Thanks."
No, that was a good. They had really good chemistry.
He closes the door and that's like the last you see of her. I'm like, I loved her.
That's a
No,
good
it was
character.
really.
She did great. I mean, I love Ana de Armas to begin with, so I was already just hype about that.
So yeah, I think this narrative overall for the movie, even exemplified by what the like main kind of MacGuffin is very 2000s. In the way of nanobots play a major role, and when they say nanobots, literally a guy on screen behind him goes. Like I felt like kind of acknowledging like we're doing nanobots.
You know,
and
These are the
the
stakes.
plot was very Metal Gear, and I will get into the nanobot thing. The Heracles, like that is essentially Foxdie in Metal Gear, where Foxdie in Metal Gear Solid is essentially a parasite or a bacteria that genetically targets certain individuals, and that's how it kills them. So it will go to person to person to person, and when it finds that DNA, it'll kill them. And that's exactly what Foxdie is in Metal Gear Solid.
Really, in theory, identical to
I was just like, that's really interesting, and I'm like, cool. I'm like, all right, like I kind of have like I get what this is doing.
No, it's not. Again, it's not that I get it. It just feels like kind of.
I don't think it's very 2000
MacGuffin-y.
at all. It's 2021. Like, there's definitely like nanotech.
No, I meant like in the 2000s. I felt like every other movie had nanotech in it. Like there was a
buzzword.
It was a very like in like iRobot and even old James Bond movies. They had like nanobots were like the kind of G.I. Joe nanobots are the big thing. Like I'm not saying that as a trap. Like I don't mean to like shit.
I think you think of it as in a cheesy way, but like they don't deliver it in a cheesy way.
I
like,
would disagree for me.
Really? I totally don't buy that the nanobots line was supposed to be cheesy or funny.
The guy's reaction behind it made me feel like he was like.
Are you talking about M?
No, I'm talking about his like little sidekick.
Tanner?
Yeah, he like kind of gives like a like.
I
anyways,
think he serves as like serious but also comic
kind of
relief.
jokey.
Like, he's
yeah,
like
they all make jokes, all of them.
no, and that's what I actually.
I like that.
That's one thing I appreciated about this movie
The old
is it
Bond
didn't
style,
take that.
yeah.
Like
Right.
I felt like you said. Were you saying that this doesn't feel like any type of Craig Bond that came before? Like any type
This
of Bond
movie
in
is
general?
like so different based on just Daniel Craig's run. Like No Time to Die.
I think it's a lot more tongue in cheek for sure.
No Time to Die is like not like it's so much slower. Like there's not that there's not the same amount of action, but the movie is just like paced very much. Sorry, the movie is paced slower. Period. Like it, like just the way the pacing is. It's like they're really like building up to something, and they really do. Like in the beginning, it's kind of like the end of Casino Royale, and honestly, like none of these Bonds end on very good endings. Casino Royale is the same. The same thing happens here. Him and Madeline Swan are in love, and then they kind of have that thing where like Vesper Lynd from Casino Royale is still,
the ghost.
still the trauma's still there. Clearly, I mean, as all this is really about, essentially Bond's trauma from Vesper betraying him and then ultimately getting killed, and it happens again, and he's like, "Fuck this, fuck you." You fucking bitch. Like the way he like rips her out of the house, like you can, and like he doesn't even give her a chance to talk. Right. Like he's been through this and he doesn't want to do it again. Like, and when they get in that car and they're like, sitting in the square, and the guy is just shotgunning the window over and over again, and he like just doesn't say anything.
The cold open was really good.
And then he goes
okay.
like, does he say like fine or like
Nice. Okay.
It's like, okay. Yeah.
and then
It's
he's
like,
like,
James.
here comes the caltrops and the smoke screen,
yeah.
and they're like, oh,
But that's
I love
again
that.
where I felt like they were bringing it back to like you said, like
With the
kind
car.
of
And the
well,
DD5,
but
like
even
the
some of the
old
tech and
school,
like the smart blood stuff and like even his like EMP watch, they were kind of more and which I like actually liked. I appreciated a little bit more gadgetry.
they've done that stuff in the other movies, but just
No, I know. I'm not saying that as
very
like a
small
detraction or
amounts.
anything. I really like. I felt like this was a very tongue-in-cheek Bond, and it was they were having fun with it, and I felt like Craig was enjoying himself. I feel like everyone, like you said, was having a great time on set. I did feel like it was a bit faster, personally, faster paced than maybe you're saying, but
Agreed.
I think it was kind of like, let's go. What's Heracles? Oh, it's a nanobot kill machine. Okay, let's move. M gets no comeuppance, by the way, for this. Like by the end, he's like, let's get back to work.
Yeah, that was a little bullshit.
It kind of felt
Like-
weird to me. I didn't understand.
They like totally let him walk with essentially
Like, with
releasing
Star-
the worst thing
thing
ever. on
ever.
the
Yeah,
planet.
I was wondering. I'm like, fuck, is M gonna
I
be
felt like
bad
M was kind of
for this
treated very
Heracles
shittily
shit?
in
I
this
thought
one.
I was totally like, this motherfucker. He thinks he's slick. I know.
Yeah.
I'm onto you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm onto you. And then,
But then he kind of has the thing where he's like, well, I fucked up. And I was like, oh, okay, you did fuck up.
I did
but
it for good.
For good. Yes. God damn it. Can't you
God
see?
damn it, Bond.
The bigger picture.
And then and then he puts her on the train. You know, the movie takes place 5 years after that. It's probably like, you know,
By the way,
a month or two after Spectre or whatever.
I caught her. I caught the stomach
Yes.
rub. I was like,
I did too.
What was that? I did say I didn't like for sure. There's
know,
like 1 second on the train.
When the train
I thought
pulls
she
away,
grabbed like her chest.
It
no,
looked
she
like she
grabs
grabs, like, her stomach.
and I was like,
I'd have to see it again.
But
but I
it's
thought
a
it was more
very
of like,
kinda quick.
like
Listen, you just
looking
have to
back,
be
I'm
as
like, it makes
smart.
sense. But I mean,
Okay, so
like,
you just have to be as smart as us. Is all.
Sure,
I think,
sure,
no, okay.
sure.
But
what did you
wishful
guys?
thinking.
yeah.
They came true.
What did you guys
Lucky.
think of the No Time to Die, the titular theme by Billie Eilish? Did you like the opening credits? Because that was like one of I just get hyped for the Bond opening credits because they're always just so cool. I was into it personally. I like the song.
It was good. I liked it sitting there. I wouldn't have like if I listened to it.
it's not something I'm going to listen to on its own.
If it came on the radio or something and I had no context, I'd be like, this isn't for me. But like, it's like any Bond song with the title. I'm like, great.
cool,
First
yeah.
time, dude. But I mean, I'll admit, like, I'll skip the intro to a lot of James Bond's themes. Like when I'm watching them, certain ones, Skyfall, don't care. Adele, is that it? That's the one
Yeah.
with Adele, right?
Skyfall
Don't
is
care.
great.
Casino Royale, I always watch because that's just the first one.
I think the
It
only
really hit
one
me.
I'll give it to
This
you
one
is
I will.
Quantum.
This one I will watch again. Like when I watch it, I'll be like, if I'm.
There's a lot of
it's good.
symbolism with Poseidon, by the way, because like his when him and Nomi are in the end, they're I don't know what Nomi's icon is, but Bond's is Poseidon, and you see a bunch of like Poseidon imagery in the trident, and I'm like, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, that is what. Yeah, and he goes,
there's a
he's like the
ton of
trident.
imagery.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like, which I felt like again they were trying to harken back from these old.
Did you like the theme?
Oh yes, I'm sorry, I did.
Okay.
I found it very. Like Casey said, I think I can only echo. It goes well with this intro. It sets the mood for
Set
what
theme,
we're
for
kind of
sure.
going into, which I think's really good.
I found myself like magnifying glass. Like, what's this?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Right, there's
What's happening there?
There's a shit ton of imagery and like Skyfalls. I think like when you go into Skyfall, you don't know what Skyfall is, but like even the song like tells you it's like Skyfall's where it starts, and like and it's like okay, like you take it that very literally. Yeah, and
Good movie. Don't care about the intro. Watching it, I probably respect it.
You
more
know that
'cause it's
movie is
like,
just The
you know,
Dark Knight.
The like the
It's-
rise.
I watched this whole video on it, and apparently, literally, the
Skyfall?
director literally talks about how like he has this whole quote about how the Dark Knight changed like cinema and like what we can do with these. And
Casino
like,
Royale is like Casino Royale and Batman Begins came out like the same year. They
No,
both-
I know- no,
they
no, I
both
know.
rebooted characters in a gritty way.
but the Dark Knight, like I think it like it's basic. It's like a deformed. You gotta look. I'll send the video to the Discord.
The Dark Knight or the Dark Knight Rises?
The Dark Knight and Skyfall are basically the same movie. You got a deranged, deformed man executing a pretty long and elaborate plot. He gets captured, and he get like it's actually pretty funny when you run through. Anywho, what I was gonna
get
say about harkening back to these old Bonds, which I liked, but I didn't really like necessarily how they did it, was the bad guy's minion, Mr. Cyclops or whatever.
We'll call it, yeah.
Cyclops.
I imagine that's his
That's what
name.
everyone's calling him.
No, that's what I think that
Cyclops.
makes. And again, I think it's
I
cool.
love
I
it.
like bringing back. I like the idea of bringing back these old henchmen and all that stuff.
One word name.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I didn't find him super imposing. I found his
Well, that's
CGI eye to be kind of weird.
That's like Hinks in Dave Bautista's character in Spectre. He's just there, and he has like little like nail things, but it's Dave Bautista
Remember
being
Diamond Face?
not saying anything about anything, and he's just the big bad henchman.
No,
villain guy.
I know,
He
but I
just
felt
keeps
like
chasing him, and then there's
Right.
face
I felt
off,
like Hinks was
And he-
more
and he goes,
imposing.
shit at the end as he gets pulled off the train.
I didn't find him to
Yeah.
be super like
rope.
imposing at all. I guess is what I didn't really like about him. And I also thought he was dead at the beginning when he slammed his head into the side of a concrete. Many things should have killed many people in this movie, which was that's how it is. It's going to be movies. You gotta. But like I felt like him being right next to the bomb as it explodes at what's her name's tomb was kind of like he would be dead. Like let's just bring him back a little bit.
That's James.
He
He got shot in the fucking chest and lived.
No, and it is true. By the end, like he is riddled with bullets and still walking around. So I do think that's unless he's wearing some type of protection that I'm not aware of. But what do you guys think of Numi?
They did it. They did it.
What do you mean they did it? What did they do?
The
Female
the-
007.
But that's not what people are talking.
But dude, they
female,
did it. I got to give a lot of credit to them because I did not assume that
But
she
that's not what people
was
want.
going to be 007.
Hold on, that's not the art. Like you can make a female 00. Like people want to make a female James Bond. They don't want a female 007. This made a cool female agent, and I actually think she's awesome. And I think she's actually a really cool and interesting character.
Yeah, Lashana Lynch is
But
great.
it's not female James Bond. Like they didn't make female James Bond.
Right. Well, female James Bond. James Bond isn't a female.
And he shouldn't. Yeah,
And
no, you're right.
That's kind of
You're
going
right.
back to that Craig argument. And I think that's why he said what he said, because they do exactly that in this movie. They make a new role for a female character to come in and be 007, but not replace James Bond.
Here's a question: do I like Nomi or do I like that? What
I
she
was
turned
kind of
out
more
to
on
be?
just what do you think?
I guess
of
both. I would
Naomi
say
as a character.
Because I think it's like kind of 1-on-1, right?
I admire how they did it.
I do too.
No issue with the whole she's 007 while he's presumed dead. None at all.
Because that makes
sense.
narratively,
Yeah,
it
It
makes
also
narrative
makes
sense.
you
Yeah.
like want him to come back.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
get
It's like
get
now
the
you got a
number.
reason to go claim your title again.
Well,
But-
and I felt
Right.
like they actually had confrontation in a realistic way too.
That's what I was
Yeah.
saying. I didn't like her because she's the opposite of Bond.
and she's
So I was
supposed to be,
like,
yeah.
She's the right.
And they even
She's the
comment on
brash
that.
new
She's,
cup.
she's
Yeah,
by
new
the
blood.
book, and M is like, oh, I appreciate your predecessor wasn't
Yeah.
usually doing
As cool
asking
as
me
that,
for
yeah.
permission
And then
or
there-
how to follow going by the book. So I was like, I don't like her because she's the
rival.
in comparison a goody two shoes. She does things by the
Right.
book. She respects the chain of command, whereas Bond does what has to happen.
right.
Right,
But
or
then they
wrong.
both
And I'm
learn
like,
that they need each other. They both work.
Yeah, they work well together.
Yeah,
I don't know if
exactly.
either needs the other. Truly.
I'm
you know what
sorry,
I
yeah,
mean.
you're
Like,
right.
but I know what you meant. Like,
No,
they,
yeah.
Dude, at the
They
end
can
when
work
they're
together.
going in Saffin's Island together and they're fucking like
I love that
They're-
slow march through there. It's no like guns blazing. Like they are.
Yeah.
They're
tiptoeing.
methodically
They walk
moving.
in,
Yeah.
Yeah, choking out to silence the shootouts. Like, dude,
the
they did a good job.
that fucking Russian scientist when she kills him and she's like, guess what time it is?
That is
And
the worst
Yeah,
part.
that
of
was
the
time
the
to
movie.
die. I
No,
was
that
like,
was-
oh my
That's
god.
the only reason I really didn't like. I was like, I can't believe they made her do that.
Do that. Yeah, no,
They
I
give her
think
this
that was funny,
badass
too.
role. They make her the woman 007. They like really do her up, and then they're
There's
like,
no time to die.
worst line in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, I can't believe that.
I thought it was just just
I was
cheeky
cringing
enough.
10 seconds before it happened. I was like, this is only going one way. Like, she's going to fuck him up. I don't know how she's going to do it. And then I'm like, oh my God, when he said that, and she's like, do you know what time it is? And I was like,
I know. I
don't
was like,
fucking
don't you
do
There's
it.
a lot of references to time in this movie. You just got to listen out for it.
yeah.
There's a lot of time references.
They kept that coming back in for sure. The theme.
So, did you real quick, going back to the beginning, so do you remember how Mr. White, the guy who is Madeline's father, is the guy who dies in
plutonium
Spectre,
poisoning or whatever
the guy
fuck
who
it
kind
is,
of
yeah.
orchestrates pretty much everything
Everything,
that's
yeah.
going on. Yeah, did you remember that
Absolutely,
when
yeah.
Safin goes in and goes,
Is he from Quantum or is he,
he's from Casino Royale, he's in Quantum, he's not in Skyfall, and
Spectre,
he
yeah.
dies in Spectre.
Gotcha.
He like begs James to go and save Madeline, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's how that whole thing starts. But I liked kind of like, you know, she tells that story in
And James gives him
Spectre.
the pistol, which
Yeah,
is like
no,
a
I
cool
remember.
thing.
Yeah.
She tells that story in Spectre, and it was
Yeah.
kind of cool to see. Okay, like, you know,
The details too.
in Spectre when Bond like hands her the gun and she talks about how like I just watched it, so
Teaches
I
her how
remember.
to use it on the
Right,
train.
and then
she's
she
like
unloads
proficient.
it, and and then you kind of see
yeah.
more development for her. And Lea Seydoux, like, I fucking love her, man. She's so good. And like seeing her, one, you know, post Death Stranding, two, back in the same role that I first saw her in.
Was that two Kojima? In the same conversation. Yeah. No.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like, you know, not a lot of Bond women get to reprise their role. So that's
true.
Yeah.
That's very interesting that she got the chance, and she was like,
They really let her hit her stride. Too.
I listened
No,
to
she
her
gave
a
her
bunch
time.
of
Yeah, she did
interviews,
good.
and she was like nobody like this opportunity like does not come again. Like, sure,
No, it's true.
being a Bond woman, but like I'm back in another film. Like that's crazy. And she was like really genuine. Like I was like just listening to what she had to say about it, because like the press tour for this movie, the marketing, everything
They had to
was
do it twice.
over the top. They did so much stuff, and I like couldn't believe it. But like they're making one, this was the first movie delayed in the pandemic. Two, this is the last Daniel Craig Bond, and they're really just double downing on it. Like, we want you to think this is just as important as we think it is, and I think they're
Until we
marketing
get the new one. No.
Yeah. Now, the good part about
right.
my
Yeah.
my own personal like just proclivity to like not watch trailers as much as I can. Like, I was very unexposed to this movie, so everything
Trailers
I
gave
heard, what
nothing away.
what. See, I heard the opposite, like about how the trailers was like the bridge scene in the beginning and like funny lines of dialogue, stuff like that, and like the James Bond when it's like that, he's like Bond at MI6,
Yeah,
and the guy's like,
dude, the
No,
desk.
I agree.
he's like
That-
James
that
Bond, like
scene's in the
they said that's in
trailer.
the trailer. No idea. So like that was funny to me. Whereas
No,
like
it's
I don't
cool.
know
You
if
get
it
to
would
see him at
have.
the yeah.
But like
first time.
Everything was fresh. Like I wasn't like waiting for any certain part to happen besides the shootout, like when they're in the DB5 in that square.
Nomi
That was the only thing
being
I could remember.
007 was not in the trailers. We knew she was like another agent.
Had no idea who she was.
No, we knew she
So
was.
when I
well, I mean,
when I
it leaked
saw
that
her
she was
character,
007.
when I saw her
decided.
character, I'd never seen her face before,
No, that's cool.
which was great because I'm
Yeah.
like, who's this shady character?
Right.
Bumping into him. I'm
doing
like,
that?
you're
In the
obviously
club, yeah.
foreshadowing,
Yeah.
but like,
Well, you'll be.
yeah, we need to ride. Yeah.
So we kind of touched on it earlier, but the kid route, I don't think I could have seen coming at all.
Well, what do you mean?
I don't
Like
think
that they
what
would
is
give
her
him
name?
like
that he would have a kid
I
with
couldn't.
her.
I can't remember her name. I've been trying to think of it since
Mathilde.
I saw it. Mathilde. Yeah, I was
Not
like,
Matilda,
it's M.
Mathilde.
It's M, but yeah.
Mathilde.
Mathilde.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Lea
guess I wouldn't
Seydoux.
have like put it outside of my possibility. Like as soon as she was like, "She's not yours," I was like, "The fuck out of here."
I think
Obviously
She's not
it's a
Russian.
kid.
She's French. All right.
Whatever.
I think they had to for the ultimate stakes. Like at the end of it, like
Right.
they
I
had
agree.
to do that, and it.
And
but-
I don't think it was meant to fool you. It was kind of be like, nah, I those eyes,
yeah, and
those fucking eyes.
dude, I really think the
Cutting
whole.
the apple.
For me, it spoke to like the hopelessness of being James Bond. Like he really can't have a happy normal life. Like
No.
they really like drive that home, dude. From Skyfall, where they just highlight like even as a child, like parents taken from like
Yeah.
Batman shit,
Vesper.
Yeah. So Vesper,
You know?
yeah, like it's like
Yeah.
it's repeatedly like get so close and then pulled right back in and away
Yeah.
from what you
Right.
want to do. And it's like it's a balance. Like, does he really want to like be in this life, or does he really want out of this life? And I think he wants out, but like it's like
He doesn't.
the way
who
he
can
repeated,
trust? Like with what
how
he's done,
can
how could he ever
how
trust
can-
anyone?
Is he deserving of it?
Right.
We think he is as the viewer, but like he's killed thousands of people, you know, or like, you know,
He's
how
a
many,
cold-blooded
like,
he's
psychopath.
I don't even think
Hundreds of
it's
people.
does he
Hundreds.
deserve it, but like like everything just keeps coming back to bite him.
Well, I was gonna say I just don't think
Right.
that job unfortunately breeds good trust.
Right.
Yeah,
trust.
that's a good family
That's
job.
what I think they were trying to push the realism of it. Like,
I mean, look
it
at
is tragic, but it's expected. Like,
Sure.
you're like, damn, like I just want my guy to get a break and
And
like
you-
be
and
able
you- and
to
you see
enjoy
with
a vacation for more than a couple of years and
No, it's
like
true.
stay retired.
you see it with
and
the
have a
other
life.
agents too. I mean, with Q in this movie, like he's like prepping for a date, and fucking James Bond comes in 5 years. What's going on, Q? And
Oh,
Money
so the
Penny
rumors
right
are
behind
true,
him.
and he's like, "Hello, Q," yeah, and just pushes right by him. Yeah,
I missed you.
yeah.
Like Moneypenny didn't have a ton to do in this movie, but like obviously, like
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of
been
made me.
around.
Was she in Skyfall? Or was she introduced in Skyfall?
She's introduced in Skyfall, and she's in Spectre. She's like the Bond woman in Skyfall, because there is no Bond woman, but her and Bond kind of flirt a little bit, and like that's it. But there's no like they don't like bang or anything.
I was listening to the official No Time to Die podcast.
Yeah.
I listened to that whole series.
It's awesome, right?
It was cool, yeah. When they were talking about how they had her come in and they told her and everybody auditioning it was a role of a Bond girl, and when she was in that like final like the finalists bracket, they were like, hey, just so you know, you're auditioning for Moneypenny.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a traditional Bond girl, like
Yeah,
so
and
She's
Moneypenny
gonna be like
is
a
a
stick
character
around,
from the
yeah.
other
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
like
And
she is a thing.
What's the actress's name?
Naomi Harris.
Naomi
You
Harris.
can
And
catch all the old.
that's why I keep saying Naomi, because I kept hearing that name.
Yeah, Naomi Harris.
But she was like saying how she was doubting. She's like, I think I'm a little old to be a Bond, like a traditional Bond girl. Are you sure? Are you sure? And she's like, and then they wound up telling her,
great
like,
podcast.
you're going to be
watch that. And listen to it.
What is it? The official No Time to Die?
If you probably
What's
look
his
up
name?
No Time to Die
James King
podcast
or something?
James King.
James King. Yeah. It was pretty good. It was cool.
Yeah,
Like, I guess they talked to everybody for a while and then patched it all together from like the questions they asked.
I
Like,
think because they started debuting it a little bit before the pandemic started.
that's
So I have a
from
feeling
that long ago.
they went
Okay.
back and retooled
I mean,
it.
they
'Cause I
finished
listened to
their
it-
almost entire marketing like thing right before the
Yeah,
pandemic. Like
yeah.
they
Right.
literally
Daniel
they,
Craig-
they did the whole tour.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah,
that.
Have you ever
Press-
seen that clip of Daniel Craig going, "Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend"? That's from the
no.
SNL.
That's like right
for
before-
Bond.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
when he was on. So that was right before the pandemic, but that's hilarious. Apparently, he just found out about that clip, and he was like, "I was like, that's hilarious."
So
That podcast was really good. I highly recommend.
yeah,
I listened to the
Gooch
entire
mentioned to me.
thing.
I need to.
Yeah.
I definitely need to listen to
Friday. I saw it Thursday. Friday morning at work. I listened to it straight through the entire
Really?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it's
like
40 minutes
six
each.
episodes or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it got me to lunch. It was great. Yeah, I was like, cool.
it. I'll have to check it. Are they're 40 minutes each? You said.
Yeah, and they
Thereabouts,
go.
maybe
They
an
talk to
hour.
like behind the scenes people and like pretty much every cast member besides like Ralph Fiennes who plays M.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And,
Rafe,
like-
as they call him.
Is
Yeah.
it Rafe?
Well, they call him Rafe. His
Rafe,
name's like
yeah,
Ralph.
like it's
He's Voldemort.
weird,
That
yeah.
guy
Oh,
plays,
it is Rafe
That guy
Fiennes,
plays
yeah, you're
Voldemort. I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if Rafe is like a nickname for Ralph or if it's how they say it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Like it's Nick and Nicholas, like that kind of thing. I don't know if Rafe
fucking
is.
dude, Felix Leiter.
He's great, dude. What's his name? Is a great actor.
That
guy.
death-
I can't remember his.
I know. I can never remember
Jeffrey
his name.
Wright. He's
Yeah.
really good.
Again, since I've just seen
Very
the movie,
solid.
like
Yeah.
they call each other brother a lot, like especially in
Yeah,
Casino
brother.
Royale. Like when he goes like
He's like an old Bond character, right?
Felix
Yeah,
Leiter,
he's a
yes,
long time back.
and then he loses the poker game in Casino Royale, but Jeffrey Wright like buys him back in,
yeah.
and he's like, "Fuck this!" Like
CIA
Bond's like, "Fuck
man.
this! I'm just gonna kill the chief right here," and like he's chasing him with like the steak knife, and he grabs him, and he's like,
Brother.
"Hey, brother." Yeah, and it's just like I'm like, oh
The Watcher himself.
yeah.
He's
So-
very
The
The
solid,
way they
though.
did his death, like the betrayal from like Logan Ash was
Fucking
cool,
guy.
and that we had the smiley like blonde haired like, "Hey Bond,
CIA guy,
how you
yeah.
doing?"
Yeah.
It's me.
I'll admit that got me. Like
It did.
I didn't expect it.
I didn't see it coming either.
When
Yeah.
he was yelling, I thought he was like protecting
He's like,
like
"We're-
a
this is for
CIA
America,"
MI6
yeah.
like crazy Heracles thing, like
Yeah.
that they were like all in the know or something. And then all of a sudden it was like, how do they know? And what is the scientist's name?
I don't know.
Russian
science.
scientist
Yeah.
won.
The worst Russian scientist character ever. He's like looks over his shoulder. I'm like, this cocksucker.
Yeah, no.
And
Yeah, that
and then
guy's very
he goes
one-dimensional.
like nuts on them, and I was like, okay, shit, this dude can fight. When he fought with Bond, I was like, all right,
And
a
then-
little bit of respect.
And then
Yeah.
the fight in
yeah.
the forest after we found out about Mathilde and the
Sorry,
car.
I totally knocked you off the Felix conversation, but God, yeah.
No, but it's
No,
actually
no,
still
it's-
relevant.
yeah.
And like the way he dies, and like
Cold,
Bond,
cold.
you want him to die just as much as Bonds do, and like just lets the car fall.
I think that is a classic case of showing that. I mean, James Bond, he is at heart a cold-blooded
and he
murderer.
is
No, I'm
in
kidding.
this movie. I think he's at his coldest.
That's
No,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
they
I
let
mean-
him be like passionate about who he's killing. Like it's no longer the job. It's
No, he's
not-
he
which I
feels it,
guess
yeah.
is kind of Bond's thing. He cares more than the average agent might.
I don't.
Like he'll go above and
Depends
beyond.
on I think where the care
I
is
think it's just
directed
more of
to.
that's just he loves his job.
But they really let it.
I love
They
this
really let
job.
it show this
Yeah.
time with like a couple people that he killed. Like where it was like, okay, damn, that was personal. Like that.
Yeah,
that
that
car,
dude,
like
when
that's
he's like-
that's cold. To your point, that was
Absolutely.
ice cold.
And it rolls like he wouldn't have died immediately. He would have been screaming in agonizing pain.
What under the car?
I don't know, dude. A couple
think it
ton,
would've-
a couple ton truck.
I mean,
like
I guess
that,
it depends on the way.
like because it
falls
went, like
on you.
rolls over him. It might. I think.
that crush your head. Like
Yeah,
that,
you're
though.
probably right. Probably
But I
like
don't
a
know. It's
pimple.
probably some soft forest ground underneath you. You might just get a little.
That's what I
pancake
mean. You're
and-
just pushed in the ground.
Yeah.
Anywho, there was
That's a
one
good point.
scene.
Man, that could be gruesome.
It would not be fun. There was one scene that bordered on parody in this movie for me. That I literally was laughing in the movie theater.
What was that?
It was when Blofeld shows up. when he is rolled in his tiny little cell that slowly approaches.
You mean that
It's like
turtle crawl?
It
up
literally
the,
reminded me of the scene from Goldmember in Austin Powers.
I thought that was really intense.
He even says, "We're the same, you and I," or something like that. He's like, "We're the same, Mr. Bond." Literally,
Hello,
I
James.
was actually like laughing.
James.
I don't know why. It really
Been a
took me
long
out.
time.
It really felt like I was like watching Goldmember.
I liked it. I
fair.
thought like the build up and they're standing there and Madeline's like, I can't
guess
do
it
this.
shows
I can't
you
do
just
this.
how, like-
because she knows she has the Heracles on her and she knows that's what she's there to do and she freaks out and like Bond, after they
That
just had
all
that
works.
cold reunion after 5 years and he's like get her the fuck out of here.
Oh, he
like,
tries to be suave
cares.
as shit too. Dr.
Yeah.
Swan.
And
Good
I
to
don't-
see
but
you.
then-
Like handshake,
and
she stiffs him like a
Yeah, and like, and then they have that conversation, and like he cracks and like fucking just starts choking him out. Like this isn't the James Bond from Casino Royale. Like he doesn't have it together anymore. He's kind of like a loose cannon with his own emotions.
I know.
I don't think he did in Casino Royale though.
I
think he was totally.
in a
was
way,
I feel like he was
totally
much-
emotional. He's young and he's like raw as shit.
See,
like, he's, like,
I think it's a different type of like. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you, but I think it's a different type of like lose control.
I think it was like full circle.
Because like I don't think
he
Bond
went, yeah.
and he gets him killed with the Heracles stuff, and I was like, oh, there you go.
But yeah,
there it
he-
is.
yeah.
Why would you have
Careless.
that cell? Like it feels way too much like a movie set. Like I know this is like like an action spy thriller movie, but it felt so incredibly weird and like artificial. Like this prison would never exist. Like I don't
Why
know.
not?
I guess that's the
they
high
would-
security.
I
They
know, but,
say
like,
he's
they
the most
put-
valuable asset they have. Like,
Right.
they make a
Nobody
point
sees
of
him
that.
except
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they built up the fact
So
that
you're
like,
gonna
he was
let it
dangerous.
open up for someone to touch him? Like why would he not be in something with like a I
Oh
know,
yeah,
like,
no, that part I agree with.
like
I
there's
don't know-
like
I don't know why
it just
there
feels
was-
like a very weird and overly complicated.
I don't know why he would have
set up.
They would let James Bond be able to touch him.
There's like things there that doesn't
That was-
doesn't line
that
up
was
logically for me.
Undeniably a mistake.
Yeah,
like,
like-
regardless of the point, like that
Sure.
was stupid to let the most
Like
efficient killer in the
physically
world.
have physical access to him. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know. It didn't feel very believable even within the confines of the movie for me.
I'm all
don't
for
know.
it. I was totally about that scene.
Sure.
But I do remember
Oh, I was
being
sorry
like,
to see
I remember being like,
build up.
why?
I just don't.
Why
I
can
think
he
it's
even
because I
touch him?
watched Austin Powers pretty recently, and I just truly was laughing, and I felt bad. Like I don't know, and I don't mean to like say that to like, but I'm really glad you guys enjoyed it. Truthfully,
No, thinking back on it, laughable. But I definitely was. I was
No, in the
I was
moment you were
hooked when it was
ju- yeah,
going on.
I don't
was
know
not
what- it-
phased.
it did-
But I do remember being like, holy shit, I can't believe he's like by himself in there.
and he's like in these
Tanner's
little
just
things,
like
and it's just slowly.
Bond. Tanner like freaking out. Open the door. Yeah.
Open the door, Bond. Oh God.
Blofeld in general, I should have. I mean, I guess I knew there was a lot of movie to go and the whole like thing. Yeah, he. I was listening to something today, and it actually made a really good point that it was like when he died, it was so quick and off screen, really, and inconsequential that you had to know there was something bigger coming. Hence the end. Like you had to know,
No,
like
it's
that
true.
wasn't the biggest punch that we were gonna pack that movie. And I was like, I didn't like at the time. I was like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. Like, shit, he's gone. So what does that mean for the rest of the movie? Like, I didn't really. It didn't paint the
Did
full
you think
picture.
barely see
Blofeld was
Saffron.
the main villain?
No, once they introduced the, is it Saffron? Or
Saffron.
Saffron. Sorry,
Saffron.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let's talk about Ramy Malek's
No,
villain character.
I knew when he got introduced, like this dude's gonna be the
Right,
main,
the
main
mask,
issue.
and then it
yeah,
gets cut
yeah.
off, like, there's a lot
especially
of,
because
like-
it's more so his relationship with Madeline, and that's what James cares about. Like,
What I like about Saffron is one, Ramy Malek does a good job of just being weird,
This felt like Carnage
was-
weird. Like you just like what they did, like what you're saying.
and
they
I
were
like how
Carnage
he's
was.
listed like cross of like Russian. He's Russian, but he's wearing like Japanese clothes, and the whole place is like Japanese inspired, and they're on this island like that's in the middle of like between Russia and like Japan. I was like, this is really interesting the way they did this.
Right.
And
his, like, Zen
he's from the
garden.
His
the
pad's cool.
yeah,
He's from the family, like his family worked for Spectre, and his dad was like the poison maker and made poison for Spectre. And Mr. White killed them for some reason, and he goes to get revenge. But he,
Is that why his face is like? Was he?
yes,
Yeah, it was
from the
Do they-
assassination.
they like leaked gas into the room with his family.
yeah,
and-
that's why. His
Oh,
face
I
is like that.
completely
He
missed that
survived
part.
someone,
I was
yeah.
by the
And
end I
that's
was
why
like,
he
why
wears
is his face so fucked up?
And when he's going after Madeline, like that's why he wears the mask, because his face is like super fucked up at that point.
Interesting.
And I guess what we have like 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I just found his character incredibly confusing. I guess.
I agree.
Like you're like he's Russian, and then he has a Zen garden.
How old is he? Like that didn't make that on its face. That made no sense. I knew who
They
he
didn't
was.
show you his face, to be fair.
Still, how it's like 25 years since then he looks like that. He was a grown man. I don't care if you're 18. Like, dude, he looks way
He would be a
too
40-year-old
young.
man.
He looks way too young.
I'm curious how old they actually are in the movie. Like Madeline and
He would have to be
yeah,
at least in
James.
his 40s, from what you're saying.
Yeah,
You're completely right. I didn't even think
for
about
sure.
that.
And he looked
James has to
younger
be in
than
his
that.
50s
Like,
at least.
But I didn't.
I just felt like he didn't have a clear. Like I get it.
He's
he
not my
wanted to
favorite Bond villain.
He wanted to control the world, but like,
Far from it, I should say.
yeah, I agree with you.
Is better
Lachief is
from
so
the first
good.
one. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, he might
Mads,
be
dude.
the best in the whole series.
No.
I
Another
think
Death Stranding alum.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I just he was in the movie for maybe 20 minutes. It felt like, and
But the
like,
movie wasn't about him.
but that doesn't. Sure,
It wasn't about the villain plot. That's what I mean. The plot, that
but
villain
that
plot,
plot
needed
still
to be
has
there.
to be. No, I know, but you still need it to be compelling. Like I still want to care. Like
Right.
I still like. And
When
I
he,
don't.
when he steals Matilda, you don't like. I feel like he stole the little girl. Why which is like a first. When is there a little girl in a Bond movie? And like it's James and Madeline's kid, and it's like I think that's where the stakes kind of go. Like like he has the fucking girl, and he's gonna raise her as his own. Like Jesus Christ, like that alone.
But
I
then
think
he
would-
just lets her go.
yeah.
Why?
I didn't think he was fleshed out enough.
He was. I just felt like I don't mean to say like he
yeah,
just.
I'm
he
trying
really
to
didn't
think.
make a lot of sense to me at all.
I'm trying to think about like why he would let it. Maybe he was.
I guess he thought they were all gonna die, maybe, but then he ends up staying to make sure they both. He doesn't bring any of his guards with him to take down James.
That I actually was like, I'll give him credit. Like, there's a whole lot of like talk about here's my grand plan, and then it falls through. Like, he actually like
He did stay to
was like
see
he
it through.
shot him. Like
Yeah.
everyone else was like, here's the sharks with freaking laser beams. You know, like that's like that trope is like so true because they all just like blab and then
but
shit
even
hits the
he
fan.
kind of
they
does
fall
that
apart.
with Madeline.
He takes it in his own hands though. Is my point. Like with
No,
Bond,
no,
like,
no,
he's
you're,
like,
no, you're
"Fuck
right. By
this
the end,
guy."
for sure. But even like
His
I mean,
beef
like when
wasn't
they.
with Bond though, which is interesting.
That's
Like,
the other.
What?
His beef
was
wasn't with Bond, which is interesting.
It was with Spectre.
like-
yeah.
But like
and
also
then I
Madeline.
guess Madeline, yeah, like
Mr. White. Yeah, essentially.
So he was like, "I own you because I saved you."
Because that's
Yeah.
what he does. Like
Yeah.
he like Heracles was supposed to kill Bond, didn't. They reverse engineer it to kill all of Spectre, which Blofeld. I guess Safin had access to Spectre intel, obviously, because he was in it at some point. Well, I guess he was good up until this point, or they didn't know he was. He
Like
was.
that's it. So he's
evil.
just been chilling this whole time.
Real
So
quick,
he's just been part
the
of Spectre.
part where they go into the CDC of Britain and the guards, the way they look, I'm like, wow, Spectre really upped their game. Look at these fucking guys; they're like spec ops.
talking about the guys who broke
Who
into
take
the window.
take it, yeah,
Take
if
the
you're going-
Russian,
shoot
yeah. I
everybody.
just thought that was really cool.
That
Like,
scene
That was a cool
heavy.
scene.
That was
No,
heavy,
that was a
dude.
great
was
scene.
like-
tilted guns, like the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
they move. And
But
Great action in this. That fucking car chase scene at the beginning's
Oh,
great. When he gets on the
dude,
motor, like
when
there are
he-
some great action
when
scenes.
he's on
absolutely.
that bridge and the motorcycle and the car coming, and what does he do?
Oh,
he comes up on the little thing,
Dude,
and
That
then
did make my sphincter go whoop. No, that was like
that not classic Bond. Like put him in the worst situation off the bat to like
Yeah.
get you like, oh my god, how I don't know how you're getting out of this one. Like
No,
where you're
it
like
was
he's
true.
gonna have to jump, and then it's like a little twist on the jump.
I mean, it was only like 5 minutes, and then you
Yeah.
get hit with that explosion, and you're
Dude.
in it.
That was one of the best scenes in any Daniel Craig Bond. Like
I would agree.
the ringing ears and deafness. Like I was like, holy shit, this is the most like real.
So
that
apart
fucking
from the
kid.
explosion not killing him. Like,
I didn't-
That was so.
I
raw.
understand
Like,
if he like still was here. I kind of would have liked it if they. You kind of can't because you need the sound for the audience to hear it. But like his
when they
his
flashbang
ears
him.
wouldn't come back that quickly.
no.
He wouldn't be. He probably technically wouldn't hear anything for most of that chase. Truly.
Yeah.
Which is
I like how they put him in the spot where he can't hear the car.
no,
Like,
that
he's
was
like-
good. No, there was. I think it worked so well
Like,
for even just that first like few minutes.
And then the dude's eye just pops out after,
Yeah.
like with the motorcycle stuff. Yeah, that whole, I think that was the best car chase scene I mean, Spectre, or not Spectre, Quantum starts off with a really good car
The
chase.
downhill chase.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, in Italy. There's a lot of Italy in this whole thing because we're back
Like
in Italy.
Mediterranean,
Yeah, in No Time to Die. But yeah, that car chase like definitely beats Spectres with Hinks. Definitely beats Quantums, and there really wasn't. Oh, there was like one really quick car chase. Remember when Vesper Lynn's like tied up in the middle of the road and
that's right. Yeah.
he fucking spins it off and flips the car.
That's
Oh,
before he.
yeah,
was
with the
getting
whip.
that.
You done scratched my balls.
I forgot about that scene. I saw someone post the other day. I was like, oh fuck.
That scene is fantastic.
The
Apparently, that is from Casino Royale. That scene, they do that. I'm like, that's crazy. That's cool.
Wait, what?
Go Ian Fleming. That
in
scene,
the book, you mean?
They do
is
that.
from the original source
I was
material.
like, I was
Right.
like, yes,
I was like, yes,
that's what we're talking about.
I just was kind of gonna be like,
Yeah, no,
dude,
sorry,
that makes
it's
sense.
from Casino
that
Royale.
torture
the
scene is
novel.
in the
Yeah.
novel. Yeah.
So there's like a few names for novels they still haven't used. I saw a video talking about like I think it was Sunday Movies. They were talking about old Bond. It's like the last one that they seem like that they might be able to use. It's like Ricario or something like that. All the other ones are very like specific. There's one that's just like 007. He's in New York, basically. like it's like, but
He's in America.
I looked it up. There's only like 14
There's not a ton,
Ian Fleming
yeah.
written ones, and then like there's continuations of his work and stuff like that. But I was kind of impressed by that. I was like,
apparently
oh, shit,
lots
only
of
that.
perjury allegations too, from what I was seeing online. Like a lot of people,
Oh,
Yeah, it's
you
gotta be
mean
negative.
what
like
the hell's the word?
not perjury,
The fuck? Plagiarism.
plagiarism. Yeah. Yeah,
Ian,
perjury.
On his
Ian
part,
Fleming
on
Like might have
plagiarized?
stole some idea. I don't know how I saw something online. I didn't look into it too much. I like to spread disinformation, so I thought I'd bring it up. But
Separate the art from the artist. No, just kidding.
I mean, honestly,
Cancel
I
Fleming.
think
He's
Bond
dead.
is so separated from Ian Fleming's like legit work than like compared to like Lord of the Rings and Tolkien.
oh,
But
absolutely. I, feel
think
like there's way
real
more.
Bond fans would shoot you for saying
Saying
that.
that, yeah.
The book readers are like.
Barbara Broccoli would probably lynch me.
Barbara
I feel
Broccoli.
like she would fall in the camp of movies over books.
Right,
given,
but
given like their involvement
but that
with
family,
them.
like they have.
It is fun. There's no other like franchise like
Flemings.
that.
Where
That's like a family has it.
Yeah.
Are they related to Fleming, or did they
No.
just?
I
think they just bought it.
acquired the
I think they
rights,
acquired it
correct?
from, like, MGM or something
Their,
like that.
Long time
their
ago.
father is the
Yeah.
one who brought
So
books
yeah,
to
like
life.
in the podcast, Barbara Broccoli was like
Yeah.
a kid when she
on set in
Barbara
Jamaica.
Broccoli.
2 years old when he
Yeah,
was writing.
with that- with that story,
I would
yeah.
fucking kill my
Dr.
parents
No,
with
I
that
guess.
name. Are you kidding me? Give me
Barbara
Barbara
Broccoli?
Broccoli.
Yeah.
Trio Broccoli.
Trio, like that's
That's
better,
his
but
name,
like the
Trio.
alliterations.
No Chris.
What's
I think Trio Broccoli. Trio Broccoli sounds like real Italian.
Trio Broccoli.
That can be your
One part
mom
that
name.
was actually
Ciao,
like made me go like ooh was when that guy is when the first guy falls into like the lake or like the river that's like I guess like acid of some kind, and he just starts burning up. But then
Yeah,
when
two
like
of 'em.
Bond falls into like the upper
isn't,
one,
isn't that the
it's like the river
Isn't
of
that the
like
doctor?
yeah. But there's another guy who's like bodies
there's
thrown in, like,
scientists like in the thing with their hazmat suits, like fucking.
I was confused on why they started running. I was like, did they not realize
the
that
guy
that could
kicked-
happen
was
to
the guy
them?
kicked out of the
Yeah,
door?
there's
no,
something like
maybe
that.
maybe the fumes from the burning body could affect them.
Anywho, when Blonde fell into the his like one that was on the upper floor, I was like, ah! And it was like, oh no, it's just water.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh,
that
God.
I figured was just like a pond. You
That's
know,
what-
well, yeah,
it just
body.
confused
So,
me
I-
because they
I-
were in like hazmats in the
You're
beginning
right,
doing
you're
it.
right.
So I was like,
I wonder if
so
that was just
fuck.
being around the plants and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So while we're there, real quick before we get to the end,
Before we get there,
yeah, before we get there, like when I like the scene when Safin and him are talking and like he kind of secedes to him in a way, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and he puts his head down.
Fakes
and,
being a bitch.
like just the way he like did that was like really cool, and I'm like, oh, he's going for the EMP, and like, nah, just kidding, he's gonna shoot these guys.
I thought he was going for the watch. I didn't
Yeah.
know what that would really do for the room they were in.
Right,
But I was
right.
like, okay, all right.
But I like the way he like
he's got a
submitted.
pacemaker and it just stops it.
Like,
that'd be
he
so
just
funny.
because like he was threatening his daughter, and he's
Yeah.
obviously like he
He
cares.
He just feigned being
just
in
the
a corner. and
the
unable to
way
get
the
out.
way Craig acted for that. God, he's great, man. I love him. But
then those guards proved totally useless. Like
I
they do the
know,
whole
that-
show
but
with
it's
Pillow,
James
and then he's
Bond,
like,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
I know,
like,
but they gotta set.
granted, he could have been like,
2021.
hey guys, I'm not doing this.
It's 2021.
Like we can.
What does
I
that
think-
mean, Trio?
I think like you don't have to set it up like they would in the 2000s because I feel like that is how they would in like classic action of like he's surrounded by 6 men, he's just gonna somehow shoot all 6 of them
Yeah.
before they
like,
get
bang,
up.
bang,
Yeah,
bang.
yeah. Like it doesn't even make any physical.
And the
But that didn't distract me.
And that final fight is like beyond, like, what a brutal tussle they have.
Oh yeah, like 2 uninterrupted minutes of just like
Fucking each other up.
Dude.
And like, again, Bond at full emotional tension. Like,
What are you
just,
talking about with Saffron?
Saffron,
No,
yeah.
okay, Saffron.
Yeah.
I keep saying Saffron.
yeah,
I have that
Saffron.
stuck in
I
my
thought you were
head,
talking
too.
about like the up the staircase fight, like where he's just fighting everybody on his
That
way
was
up to
really
the
good.
the control tower before, like when he first leaves, he says, "I have to go back and I have to open the doors." Whatever. He's making his way up. He's shooting everybody up in the whole facility. Do you know what I'm talking
he's
about?
just making his way up to.
You're looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm listening.
Oh no, I was just that's what I thought you were
did kind
talking
of have
about.
like a-
You
what are you
were like,
saying?
what part is
Face down.
this? I was just I thought
No,
you were
no,
talking about,
yeah.
in terms of
Yeah,
what
and
a
he has to
fight.
come back down. It's like, oh, the fucker reopened the door.
I was thinking about that. You're talking about Saffron.
yeah. And then
Yeah, that was brutal as well.
and like the way Bond's like, no, we gotta fucking blow this thing up. Fuck everyone else. Fuck Japan. Fuck Russia. Like, we gotta put missiles in this base now. And the weight and the stakes of the movie just feel so much larger than they ever have. And yeah, like M has to override like fucking, I guess, like
But
Adam's
again,
amazing.
that didn't even seem like that big of it. He was just like, just shoot, and then they did it. Like,
well, good because he's the reason we're there.
Trio is here to just bring me down a peg.
no, I mean, I am, but that's besides the point. I listen.
Legitimate thoughts.
There are just things
No,
that, like
I-
when it's something like this, I do. I'm not looking for it to be like completely soundproof and like we need every little inch of it thought of. But it's when it's like, but like that's not even the M thing is just more of me being a jerk. There's just certain other things like when he is surrounded by 6 individuals and shoots all of them in 5 seconds. I'm like, I think there's a more creative way to get around doing that, and I think it's the more interesting way.
I think you're missing the point. I really
you
do.
can say that I'm missing. That's my point.
That's
though.
James
Like,
Bond, dude. He's the
I get what you're-
ultimate,
but
he's
that's
the
not like
ultimate
an-
spy, assassin, killer.
I get
There's
what
a
you're
middle
saying.
ground between the two.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like we
need
need to like have it be the most realistic thing ever, but I'm saying there's a more compelling for this specific case.
It sounds.
Anywho.
This is nitpicky. 2 guards would have been a more likely scenario. Like the third,
That's what I'm saying,
where he had
like-
to do the. That's where I'm on Tria's side. Is like,
Like
3 guards
they
that like
all have their guns aimed on
and they
him.
showed off
Like
like their trained killers.
even in the
like,
even in the beginning, like when Bond gets shot in the fucking shoulder, like it's nothing.
See, but it looks like he got. I thought he got like grazed.
No, he got shot. I'm pretty sure.
It looked like it was only on like his like.
is that on the bridge?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he gets
That's
like
it's
caught in the
before he
shoulder.
like
yeah,
really.
he gets shot in the
before
shoulder
he
and then
hears right. Like,
turns
came back,
around.
he's like, what?
Yeah, and then the guy's on the motorcycle. He passes him, and
yeah.
then the car comes, and then they.
Yeah, I thought the ending was fine. I don't know. I didn't really like. I thought like he
Dude,
goes out in a blaze of glory, which is cool. He definitely dies, which is
See,
nice.
I was
wouldn't-
like, can I ask the question? Like, are we just blowing the lid?
Oh, yeah,
off?
we're
Like,
blowing- yeah,
Yeah,
come on,
we're
we're
blowing.
Like I know we've been.
We're
we're
in
blowing,
full
we're
spoiler,
blowing
yeah.
the island lid
What are
off.
your thoughts on it? If he entertain it. If he's dead, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, he's totally dead.
But the whole like bomber return, I'm like, dude, if they decided to dig him out of it, I don't know how they could do it. I don't think they should do it.
No.
But the
It's-
Craig fan in me would be like, I'd love to see how they can figure that out. But I'm like, you can't. Like,
I feel like
that
there
was
There was no other way this could
fucking,
end.
I don't know what the word I'm looking for
See,
is.
do
That was
you think
hellfire.
an
Like,
old Bond can be involved in a new Bond without distracting people
No,
from that new Bond?
Absolutely not.
Because
That's
I do. So
distracting.
apparently, for Skyfall, I was telling Gooch this. They're
Pierce
originally
Brosnan
intended
coming
on
back or
having
something?
Pierce Brosnan play, or not Pierce Brosnan, Sean Connery play. What's his name?
Kincaid.
The old guy that's at the Skyfall mansion that like
Yeah,
used to
Kincaid,
like
the
work with us.
groundskeeper.
Okay.
Like, and they said they didn't do it because basically they feel like it would be too distracting. And I think you can get away with it on a third or fourth of a new Bond. But if you're starting out a new set with a new actor, I think that would absolutely distract. But I think seeing Craig come back as like a villain and like the third or fourth one of the next ones, I'd be completely fine with. I think that would be really cool.
I wouldn't be okay with that. Daniel Craig, James Bond died in this movie, and as the titular, no time
No,
to
but
die.
I don't. By the way, I don't think he should be coming back as James Bond.
No, he's,
Like, he'd
he's
be a
not.
completely different character.
I
You're
think
talking like an Easter egg casting.
In a way of like, yeah, he's just playing.
I would
yeah.
personally would not like that. It would be distracting. I'd be like, not saying that they shouldn't do
No,
it, but I'm
sure,
like,
no.
I would be like, man,
Again,
I just
that's
wish
where it
he was
comes down to
Bond.
that
Like that's what I would be
and
thinking
that's what
at
I
that
think
point.
they were talking
Like,
about with that Sean Connery thing
Sit
of
up.
like,
eh.
no.
take the mic or sit up.
Anyways, that's why I love James.
Fucking hate you. Yeah, I like. There was really no other way this movie could have ended. This movie, like Daniel Craig's run of Bond is very like negative. He like never wins ever. Like he just keeps losing left and right. And like I think the only way this movie could end, it wasn't going to end with him riding into the sunset. He has to die. There's no time to die.
Do you find that would have not been satisfying to you if he did?
No, it wouldn't have. I feel like
because I feel like he kind of earned it at this. I would have been probably okay with it.
I would have been okay with it.
his death is super emotional. Like if that there's that when he's on the sat phone with her and like the with him getting scraped
He got
by
infected
the
with magic
poison
blood.
that he
The nail in the coffin.
it's just Heracles. It's not magic blood.
I'm joking. I know.
But it was the Heracles that was designed for Madeline, so he couldn't touch her. So he would have to go on his life without ever physically touching her. And that was a fate worse than death. So dying seemed the better alternative than living a life where he like couldn't be with her.
I also don't think he could have made it off the island in time, even if he wanted to.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. That's also
But that's like
No, of course.
that's something that Bond would pull out of it.
No, you're
is
absolutely
making the escape.
Yeah,
given
in the moment,
given the
you're right,
option that he could carry it
1000%.
on. Like
Yeah.
with the-
Yeah, and
that's
yeah.
where he'd do like a dive off
And,
of
like,
it, like
yeah,
a
and get a
3,000
grapple
foot
hook out of
drop.
nowhere, yeah.
No, I'm talking just like right into water. Like he wouldn't even or like
He'd be
shoot the
fine.
water.
Yeah, he
some
doesn't need
crazy
a-
shit where
yeah.
they'd be like,
Yeah,
yeah, this
uses
is how we
his
did
sonic
that.
watch.
and we start seeing the bombs hit and
Can we talk
That-
about the EMP blow your mind thing?
That was awesome.
That was what I was talking about.
That is
the obvious
a
earlier.
typical James Bond joke.
That's
and
what
if you thought that was cheesy, then like, what do you see?
No, it's shit. No, it was cheap. But again,
It's
this is
great.
shit. I'm not.
Let him get his
I wasn't
opinion out.
saying
What do you have
it's
to say?
bad.
What do you have
I
to
did
say?
just find it fun. I did kind of
It was
take
a
me out of
point.
it. No, I know, but that was the most in your face out of all of them for sure. And it was almost like
It was
who
the
is
second.
Simon?
It was
his
the.
face.
It was the second worst line in the movie, but
Yeah,
I loved
agree.
it. No, I liked it.
But
like,
no,
a
it
lot.
didn't
I really
hit
did
exactly.
like
It didn't
and
hit in a bad
and he
way.
hit it by accident. Like,
it. Blew his mind.
No, it's true.
I love the look on his face when he says it. Like he knows he's being funny.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I agree.
like-
He was
like-
kind of leaning
yeah.
into it a bit.
I liked it. I was just kidding about the second worst line.
Oh yeah, so
I still
what
stand
was,
by the worst
the end
line.
credit scene was James Bond will return. That
It was no.
the
It was
end.
no scene. It was the
was- it
last.
was-
Oh, no,
line.
okay.
It was
Sorry,
rolled.
I wasn't-
Credits rolled.
It was like
and
our
that was it.
MCU
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Iron Man will return.
return.
Yeah.
But
We got a James Bond will return, which I think means, my opinion, what that means
New
is
Bond.
they're gonna. Well, obviously we're gonna get a new James Bond, but I think it's gonna be sooner than we think.
They said they were going to wait like at least a year to start casting.
Next
I know.
year,
She said, yeah.
I think it was next year is the 60th anniversary, and they're like, that's probably a bitch in time for an announcement of that.
I think
caliber.
that's
like
actually-
the new
Yeah,
Bond.
this was the 25th. Bond
I didn't realize
movie.
how close together Casino Royale and what was it, Goldeneye? What was the last
Quantum?
Brosnan?
Yeah.
No, the last Brosnan.
Oh, No
Die
Time to
Another
Die?
Day. Die Another
Like
Day.
I didn't.
No,
realize,
no
yeah,
Time
yeah.
to
Is
Die.
that the one with Halle Berry?
Yeah, it's
Halle Berry.
2004.
I didn't realize they're 2 years apart. I was like, what the fuck? Okay.
Another
That
I
was
mean,
really
dude,
good.
what's his? Dalton only did like 2, right?
He's like the least tenured,
2 or
right?
3.
Yeah.
He's
I
the-
know-
he was
No,
after
George
Con-
Lazenby did 1.
Was he after Connery? He came for 1, and they brought Connery back.
Sean Connery, George Lazenby,
Yeah.
Sean Connery
Yeah.
again, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and then I think there's another. Or am I misremembering that?
There's 6.
I
of them.
know
No, that's it. That's
Craig has the longest stint as Bond, but does he have the most movies?
No, I think Sean.
No,
Connery
Roger Moore.
does.
Roger Moore.
Is it?
I was on one of those.
Yeah, one of those podcasts.
Podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Die Another Day.
Pierce
podcast.
But he's been Bond
Pierce
for 16
Brosnan
years,
did
right?
more movies than Craig. but
Correct me
had
if I'm
a
wrong
shorter
later,
run.
but it's not the obvious choice. I know it wasn't Connery and it wasn't Craig
What?
for the longest or the
Movies.
most movies.
For the amount of
Oh, yeah,
movies.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty.
Most
I remember
movies.
hearing him and being like, really?
Yeah. They
Roger Moore.
Daniel Craig only had 5. Realistic, isn't that crazy? Only 5 movies. You feel like he's been around forever.
Well, but that's the thing. They did. I know
15
it was
years,
his foot, right, that stopped them from like from doing one right after.
I think he
one
broke
of
his
them.
ankle.
Yeah, something like that. So
He,
that's what
he talked about in an interview I was listening to that he broke his ankle while filming this.
I have one more question. What was Madeline's big secret that Blofeld said was going to tear him apart?
Like, is that the baby?
That's what I
That
was
I don't know.
confused
I
because
was like-
I was like, I assumed I guess that she
Yeah.
had a kid, but like I was like, is that going to tear him apart?
I feel like I feel like they didn't know where to put the weight of the villain. Like they were like,
That's
do we
what I-
want to invest
exactly.
in Blofeld, or do we like no? This is what's going to happen to him, and we're just
Well,
getting ready to write
it
him
was
off?
also,
or
like-
do we want to stick with Safin? And like I was like,
Truthfully, I don't
That's-
even know much about. Like I don't remember
I think the
Spectre
secret
at all.
The secret was the kid, and then or possibly that Safin,
it will crush you. I was like,
Yeah, it didn't
somebody
really
from
crush.
Spectre who has a
okay.
connection directly to her, maybe.
Yeah,
Like, were we supposed to know what the secret was before it was revealed? Do you know what I mean? Like,
That's
it was
what-
almost
that's
like, it was
exactly
almost
it.
like they
I was
didn't
like-
do any exposition on it afterwards. So it was like, am I
Like there
supposed to
wasn't
have
like
known
anything
what
like
the
Bond
issue
wasn't
was?
like, how could you not tell me? You know,
Yeah,
like there wasn't like
yeah.
any kind of comeuppance from that, which was confusing.
But I wonder if that was their way of being like, it doesn't. He's over and done with Blofeld. Like that part of his life, like
No, it's true.
books closed, put it away. Like
What
you
did
know.
he do in the? What happened in? Gooch, give me a brief rundown of Spectre, if you could. What did he do in that?
So
again?
Spectre, we start Day of the Dead. We got the Spectre ring. Oh, great! Now we know where Spectre is. We go to Italy. Monica Bellucci. We bang her. She dies. Her husband dies in the beginning.
Okay.
Spectre. We get there. We make a Mickey Mouse joke. We see, we got all the Spectre dudes. We chase Hinks, and then Mr. White dies, and then we
Like,
find
what's the
Madeline. We go to
Bond sneaks into the-
L'American.
yeah.
We go into the desert thing. We have that old scene. He gets his eye blown out from the machine. We go back to London, and then we finish the movie.
Oh, he gets fucked up when that thing blows up. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that's
They sent
what
him like
this is,
spiraling. Right?
yeah.
we
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
Austin Powers reveal too, but they're not literal brothers, but they're foster brothers.
That to me, I was like, how does he like not know? Like that was the worst part about Spectre.
That was.
I was like,
I just-
that like Bond was like clueless to like who Blofeld was. Like
Like that
just
he was
because of a
like,
name
I'm
change, like
yeah.
and he's supposed to be dead. I'm like, you don't look at this person and go, you
Well-
look like that boy who like his dad.
took
Well,
care of
he
him.
doesn't get a
Like,
good look at him until they get to the desert.
Sure. Anyway, that's all. That could be a whole.
And then
nother
they-
podcast.
Do
and
they
then
not
they-
show him?
He
clearly at the
starts putting
meeting?
it together that Franz Obenhauser is
Doesn't he have to explain
Blofeld.
it explicitly to him? Like, doesn't he walk
kinda
him through the
does.
whole arc of
like
his
he's like, this
life?
is where I used to be, James, and now I'm
the
here.
author to all your pain.
Yeah.
Again, Christoph Waltz, great actor, but I feel like he doesn't know where to go sometimes. Like he does like amazing
Like he
things.
just
like
walks off set.
no, I don't know. But like he
He
does
literally
stuff like
doesn't know where to go.
Django.
That is
and,
all
like,
I am shooting
kills it.
today. Yeah.
But then he'll go do like Horrible Bosses 2. Or something, like, you know what I
Is
mean?
he in that?
Yeah, he plays the main bat. Like I don't know. It's just it's these interesting. But do you know what I mean?
Then we'll go
Like-
to Spectre.
They just throw bad guy roles at him, and he's like,
Yeah, I'll
what do I
take it. It's
wanna
fine.
do? Yeah, yeah.
Which again, he's a great actor, and I just think he's a
he
bit
really is
underutilized.
phenomenal in Django. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
he's so good. But even in this, like, I just felt like he was kind of just like, I'm the bad guy, Mr. Bond.
I respected his talent. I didn't love his
He's also
character.
playing like one of the most like recurring Bond villain ever.
like yeah.
Didn't they not have the rights to Blofeld or something for a while?
They
And
didn't
like,
have the rights to Spectre either.
that's right. Yeah, which is so crazy to me.
like the first two or
Yeah.
three movies they didn't have.
They didn't have the
and
right-
then they made a big deal out of like everything was.
They were like,
Spectre,
we can get
naming the
Spectre.
movie and like.
Yeah.
Did they have the rings in previous ones though?
It
Like, with the
only in
symbol?
The new, like,
only in
Craig-
Spectre and the beginning of No Time to
like
Die. We see the ring.
The quantum thing that was totally a retcon. Like that they put him like what's his name in Quantum, the bad guy.
Dominic
Like when they
Green.
put him in like the top, they were like, oh, here's the. It's like the fucking like Assassin's Creed like order
Yeah.
tree. It's like, oh, these are the big bad.
Oh, yeah,
four,
yeah,
I do
whatever.
remember
Yeah,
that.
I'm like they just pieced that like you knew, I guess, but like they
Yeah,
just
I
had
mean
to
the way
prove,
I
like,
interpret
we
it is
know, we
like
know.
Quantum is like an arm of Spectre.
Right. No, well, yeah. But like, I mean, you don't know that when you're watching it when it releases. You know, it's just
Yeah.
like what is quantum?
It's
like,
kinda more
Quantum's
built
quantum.
on it,
There's
yeah,
no like,
yeah.
oh, there's a bigger secret shadow organization.
But then
like,
it's figured out that there
they
is
made
a
it
bigger
work.
secret.
They
stash.
probably planned for it.
Sure.
Like I don't have any problem.
Well, I
with
think
that.
they
It's just
set that up
funny
in the
that
way
they,
of
like,
it could be kind
They
of
were
full of-
able to retcon it well.
Yeah, like
It's just like
Chief
you-
and Silva were all
Yeah.
Spectre.
All the big bad guys are like it's like the X over there. Like,
Yeah, I did.
dead,
I
dead,
love
dead, yeah. Yeah, it was just I noticed it. I'm like, yeah, they totally made that work.
Yeah, they
right?
kind of fit in the
hindsight,
puzzle piece. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Fortunately, yeah.
I'm trying. I didn't see anything else on my list. Is there anything else, you gentlemen, before we get to the old classic Luke Kenny rating system
Oh yeah.
by the end?
I guess the one thing I just keep thinking about, and we've already really touched on it, when he knocks off Cyclops, or when he knocks Cyclops off the motorcycle, that fight between, I was like, fuck yeah, Bond's back. Like when he's throwing blows and he's not
No,
just
it's
running,
good.
I'm like, he's been on a hiatus for however long, and he's like ears ringing, he got shot, he's swinging off of bridges, and I'm like, when it actually comes to throwing blows, I love that kind of thing. Like most movies, I love when like an expert like hand-to-hand combat scene goes down, but I'm like, I love that this dude's in a like to the nines in a suit. Friday night,
Fucking
fresh
people
off
up.
of like all this crazy
I
shit
wonder how
that
hard
just
it'd be
happened,
to find a suit.
Oh,
and
that
then
was
he just
another-
goes to town on him, and he chokes him out, and he fucking bang knocks him out. Like,
Do you guys know about the suits on James Bond movies?
Oh yeah,
There's the action suits,
Yeah.
and then there's the set suits.
in the podcast,
stage by stage
Yeah.
tearing.
Yeah, in the
have,
podcast they talk about how they have like 26 suits.
And there was like a supply shortage, like globe or
Yeah.
not sure. They
For-
just,
oh, for
there's
the-
certain the material that they use for certain suits. They it was so limited, and they had to factor in how many suits Daniel Craig would get, his stunt doubles, and everybody like stand-ins, all that
It is
stuff.
like-
and they had to figure out like this guy gets 1 suit, this guy gets 3. Daniel gets 10. Whatever, like they had to ration.
Of course,
by
ration
size,
them out.
and
That's
like, it's
so
like
funny.
they can't share suits because everyone's a little.
Because of
different.
course, yeah, no.
And he always looks like
He always,
dapper as fuck.
I agree.
It's
I
like
do think there are.
That makes
it's
me
not
want
as
a
bad
nice
in this
suit.
movie,
a
but
nicer
there,
suit. Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's not as bad in this movie. But there are some scenes in other Craig movies where he's just in the tiniest little suit on Earth, and
Trio,
it's just like,
stop knocking
and
Bond.
he's just like,
Get out of here.
he can't move.
He's got points.
Give
This-
him, no, it's not. Again, it's a fun. Like,
He's
I'm not-
allowed to not move.
do
He's
you know
allowed to
about
look
the
that-
puffy hands?
He's allowed to look that good. What are
what?
you talking about?
The puffy hands in, I think it's Skyfall.
What's that?
All right, what's the one where he's in the pit with all the iguanas?
Skyfall.
That is Skyfall. Oh, the
You know when
Komodo
he
dragon.
so apparently
Komodo
yeah.
dragons,
What
yeah.
did I say?
iguanas. Yeah,
Iguanas.
James Bond and the iguana.
It actually might not be that scene. It might be the scene where he's in like the glass. Anyways, there is a scene. You know how in that movie he has a gun that you like palm print reads.
Yes.
Apparently Daniel Craig likes to buy his own clothes to wear in the movie sometimes every once in a while, and he bought this pair of gloves that he really liked. So for some reason he's like, hey, can I wear these gloves during the scene? And they're like, sure, go ahead. And then they're going back to the editing and they're like, wait, this whole scene is built on the fact that the guy can't fire his gun because it has a palm print and James Bond is wearing gloves. So they literally had to go back and I think
his hands
paint
or
his
something?
hands just like flesh color.
so he's got puffy hands.
Yeah, so they were like saying because like it would have cost way too much money to go back and
Shoot
reshoot. So it's in one of the scenes. Yeah,
I guess they
can't,
got rid of them.
Like
if
he
that's the
drinks
case.
in that scene a lot, and he's like doing things with his hand.
so I
don't
can't remember if
but,
it's
you know.
either. I'm pretty confident it's the lizard one because like there's a part in that where the guy literally goes to shoot
Yeah.
and he can't.
I think it is that scene too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's on
yeah.
that bridge. And he
I
throws
think
him
it's
over.
again. It's not no. It's one of
guy's
those
just
things that
like-
you would not notice unless you
can't-
Anyway.
unless you really were paying attention.
Yeah, No Time
That's
to
funny,
Die.
though, puffy hands.
It was great. I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. I would love to see it again. I think it kind of deserves a second watch.
I would
Top
definitely
tier
watch it.
film.
So do you know how this rating system works?
No
Top
Because
tier.
so you got a flick, a movie, and a film. All right.
film.
Your three tiers.
And then you have
It's a
three
film.
tiers within that:
Okay.
high tier, mid tier, low tier. Where would you within each of those? So it'd be a high tier film, mid tier, whatever, a low
So
tier.
high tier film.
High tier.
I would say high tier movie for sure.
That was as Dane Cook would call it, a cinematic adventure. That was a movie.
It was a
you
ton of
should-
fun.
You should, if you have the means to go, sit in theaters.
Absolutely.
It's very worth your while. The sound was great. The visuals were great. Every
Straight
the
audio
location-
I
mixing.
saw it in
Yeah.
IMAX.
Yeah.
I did too.
I wish I
No,
did. I
didn't
might
actually.
go see it.
saw
In,
at the
I
theater, but-
might go see it again in IMAX. Like it was very good. High tier. High
Yeah,
tier.
I guess I'm not really as high as you.
I like
I
that,
think
I
it
like
was,
that system. It gives you a good.
It
like,
gives you a
chaotic
lot of-
evil,
yeah.
neutral evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say high tier movie for sure because it's a lot of fun. But like again, to reach that film level, it's got to be like
I think every film
Amazing.
besides Quantum is like a high tier film for Bond. Like they're all good.
yeah, that's
Besides,
They're all
besides
very
Quantum.
obviously cinematic. I'll give
absolutely.
them that.
I just think they're unfortunately just
My-
not very
my
well
preference.
thought out. Like is the narrative is what holds us back from being a film for me. That's where like the story wise.
So top to bottom, good to bad. What's your Craig order?
Hold on, I have it.
Hit me with all of them.
Nice, okay.
No Time to Die is definitely one that I think could move around. I'll just say that. So right now, in my order is Casino Royale, Skyfall, No Time to Die, Spectre, Quantum. I think No Time to Die could possibly move in front of Skyfall with time.
Okay. What about you, Trail?
I
Or top
barely
three
remember
if you need to,
Quantum.
yeah.
I barely remember Spectre.
Not
So
a fan.
those are bottom two.
Clearly not a fan.
No, well, no, it's just they really didn't. But like, see, I think that like you don't
Spectre's
have to be a
my
fan to
least
like.
memorable for sure.
Yeah, I think Spectre is low. I think it goes number one is Casino Royale. I think Skyfall in this I have to simmer on. I think I'm gonna put Skyfall above this. No Time to Die. Spectre, Quantum.
Oh, great. So my order. Okay.
Dude, I'm going
Clearly, I'm
a
just right.
definitive tie between Casino Royale and No Time to Die for my the bookends are my favorites. Definitive tie.
I like it.
And that's that's no disrespect to Casino Royale, and that's
Casino
Sure,
Royale
it is. You
is
hate it. I know you do.
That's
so
not
good.
Dude,
How-
that's just like the obvious choice. Truly, like I'm like that
it's such
is
an-
that stands
that
out.
top one spot is
To step
Especially
to step
considering it's
into
the first
Bond and
one,
making
yeah.
your own, and it's the best of them. I'm like, that's fucking impressive.
Absolutely.
I'm riding the high of No Time to Die right now, where I'm like, that one it took like it was like every other. It was like Casino Royale. So I guess I'll go. Those two are tied. Then Skyfall.
Yeah, it is kinda
and
funny
then
how it's like every
tied to
other.
the bottom is
Yeah.
Quantum and Spectre. Like truly, like it's really like 3 levels of
yeah. So
top.
my
top-
order
what
is
is it?
pretty
Top
much.
tier? High-
You guys kind of agree on my order.
No, I think that makes sense.
More
Yeah,
or
What is
less.
it? Top film? What's the fucking rating system? Top tier.
Film, movie,
Yeah.
flick.
And then what's the
it's
other?
mid-tier,
Mid-tier,
high-tier, low-tier.
Okay, high tier, mid tier.
As he's pointing to my posters.
And yeah, okay. So Casino Royale, No Time to Die are high tier.
Yeah.
Skyfall's mid tier.
okay.
Not
And these are all films?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Damn, man.
then I would say Quantum and Spectre are probably like what is it? Movies in the middle.
Yeah.
High movie. Like they're the best of the mid.
I would
is
say-
the middle of the best, and then the bookends are the best of the best.
Casino Royale is
my
mid-tier
opinion.
film for me. Skyfall is high-tier movie. No Time to Die is high-tier movie. Quantum is a high-tier flick. And then Spectre is a low-tier movie.
I would say Quantum's a low tier movie. I wouldn't call it a flick.
I barely, like...
It's not good, but I wouldn't call it a flick.
I can see.
Sure,
all,
fair.
I can
No,
see
I
all
get
the
it.
reasons.
I got a lot
for
of
it.
issues.
I get
that.
no, I hear you.
None of them
So-
dip below best of the mid for me.
To
Like
e-
they're all great. Like
To end the podcast, I know we kind of talked about the female Bond and who's going to play the next Bond, but like, is there like real
I do
quick,
find
real
it funny-
general? I don't want specifics. What do you want like for the next Bond? And I don't even think I can answer that question.
I do
or
find
do
it
you guys
funny
have
that
any
Craig
wants?
gave the answer that like a lot of people have been giving for almost every character ever, and now it's like, oh my god, he's so right. Like, we should
is.
no because he is, but like he's not like the first person to say that. That's what annoys me about like that's like been a very consistent view on like changing a lot of characters up.
Do you want a new Bond or a new
Anywho.
007? Is that like kind of where you're at? Like
I think it will be a new Bond.
a new Bond for sure. It should.
who would it be? What do I want? What are you,
I have no.
What are you asking?
I wouldn't put an actor on it.
I want it to
I'm
be a
gonna let
period
Barbara
piece.
find that.
I want it to be a period piece. I want it to be like back in the 60s or 70s where he doesn't have all his gadgets and he doesn't have all his like you can't put everything on a cell phone. And I want it to be a little bit more close to the chest. I don't know. I don't need it to be this big kind of mind-bending thing. Casting wise, I mean, you know
Whatever.
what to cast for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see.
Not a woman. Sorry.
I would
I
never do a period piece for Bond because I think Bonds are period pieces of themselves.
well, they're contemporary
I
pieces.
agree, but I mean, if there are some good stories that could be told with it. I agree. It could go either way for me.
Sure, yeah.
I like when it's contemporary. You can like kind of relate to it like that. Period pieces are sick though when it's like especially now like with what they can do with movies, they can make a really really good
Like a cool
Cold
and I
War
feel like
Bond,
you
a
just
really
cover
good-
your ass again like with this there's so many times there are a lot of times where I can feel like why is this happening, whereas when you do it with something that'll like when you put it in a past time I feel like you eliminate a lot of those things of like, well, why doesn't he just use a fucking cell phone or something like that.
See, and I just think like, you know, even though Pierce Brosnan was post 9/11, I think like our Daniel Craig Bond was like a post 9/11 like
counterterrorism, especially.
Absolutely. No,
like,
for
Right.
sure. Like these,
Like,
not just one
Pierce
rich bad guy,
Brosnan
it's like a
still was
whole-
like
yeah.
buried in its Cold War roots. Like, you know, fucking
It was definitely more
GoldenEye
tongue-in-cheek,
is
too.
Russia.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's in the 90s, but it's still, well, actually 9/11 didn't happen yet, obviously. But yeah, like
Spoiler
GoldenEye
alert.
is like, you know, post Cold War, Russia.
Allies are riding high.
You know what?
like,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
if the movie's not going to be period, can I at least have that game be a period piece? Like I think that
Is
would
that
be
coming out?
so
I don't want that
much.
either.
That's not coming out for like 2 years. By the way, the Gooch
don't want
makes
it.
all these decisions.
Nope.
So-
You don't want a game.
why
or
would you
don't
not
want-
like what are you
You
so
don't want a
against
game,
that?
or
for?
you don't want?
I just, I
Like,
don't
I
like
think
the period
imagine
piece.
getting
They-
all the
they did
like
that
getting
one
all
from
this.
Russia with love. They
That was a
made
great
That
game.
game was
That
so
was a
good.
great game.
It was so
I
good.
just, I
The
just
fuck are you
like,
talking
I like
about?
Bond being like stooped in like the time period that it's made.
That's fair. I can listen. I
Steeped.
get that.
steep. I said
You're
stooped.
talking like making
Steep
tea.
soup,
You
yeah.
want it to brew in your. In
No,
You
like
want it
stooped.
brewed in
Isn't that the right
contemporary.
word?
No, he's right. Yeah, steeped in.
Stooped.
That's correct.
Stooped.
It's not stooped. It's steeped.
Steep. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That,
All right,
that's
been
what-
steeped in.
You know, words.
You know, I would like to see.
I was never a good speller.
I would like to see like a screen. You didn't have to spell that. That's good. No, I would like to see like a screen test, and this is a totally personal
Well,
not
I'm going to tell you that it's wrong. so
subjective
continue.
opinion. A lot of people will disagree. I would love to see Charlie Hunnam try James Bond. Jax Teller, he's
Oh, I
British.
think you could do
British?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially riding
Has to
off
be
the,
British.
Blonde's not Bond. It's like that went away. Like, dude, I would just like to see how he would do it. He's like a suave motherfucker. He's young. He's
No,
like,
I
I
think
would
you
like
could
to see
absolutely do it.
him try it out. Especially because he's serious, but I don't think they would take. This is why I'd want to see a screen test. I don't think they would take the seriousness of Craig's Bond to that. It might be a little easing up and like.
See,
more
I'm
of
Like,
a-
how do you
I'm
keep
curious
this
how they
fresh?
handle the tone, right?
Like, how do you keep
Right.
this new? Because,
Right.
like,
They
are we
shouldn't
just going to
just
do
copy
it
it.
again, like with
Like,
a
they
new,
shouldn't.
fresh Bond?
They shouldn't, even though it fucking worked.
No,
Like,
it did. But,
I-
like,
I would
but do they throw him in just in, like, you get to Bond, he's full Bond?
I would love, like, what I would
You know what I
think
mean?
would be really cool, and this goes for the game as well. I think the game can kind of do whatever the movie like
As long as
could-
it's not period, though. right?
could do, as long as it's not a period piece. I would love to see like early 20s Bond, like
Age-wise,
out of the academy.
Oh, I thought you were
in
saying
the
early
academy.
20s,
Like, fresh off,
period.
like-
going on missions.
Well, I guess
and we build up to the license to kill. And by the end of
Fresh
the
off,
movie,
like, SAS,
he gets
Special
the
Force
license
shit.
to kill and becomes a 00.
like where he has to
In-
do things more or less by the book. Like,
Right.
You can't
In
just,
Casino Royale, we start by him getting the license to kill.
that
I would
first
like to see
mission.
the build up to that.
Yeah.
And maybe like again, younger Bond, and like maybe he's not as
See, but
cocky, but like, and then he
Yeah.
builds up to. I see. I don't know.
Listen,
I don't
your
know.
opinion's wrong, and I don't like it. So I'm going to say it can't no.
I'm frazzled.
I
Yeah,
guess
that
I don't.
period
That
piece
does
just can't
sound a
happen,
little bit like kind of boring to me in the way of like I do want to see him doing James Bondy things personally. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like that
see,
just kind
I-
of sounds like James, like
that's-
Jason Bourne then,
The,
like
the
or something
reason
like that.
the reason I
Like,
pitched that idea is because it's just different.
no, that's fair. No, again, that's
Like-
well, again you got to speak to how do
Yeah,
we keep
I
it
would-
it fresh
Right.
and interesting.
I would. Do you have like an idea? of
No,
what you're
no,
gonna
go
say? I was gonna say I would like to. I remember reading in grade school,
Silverfin.
Silverfin.
Yep.
I would love
That's
to
why-
see
that's
that
where I
where
based
he's
the idea
where
off
he's
of.
at. But that's like boyhood. Like that's a young Bond. That's
Yeah,
not even
it's
20.
teen
That's
Bond.
if that. Yeah, I guess he's like 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
And like that's I might go find that book and read it again. That was a phenomenal book.
We both read that at the same
I
time.
love
You
that
know,
book.
you know who should be Bond?
Have you read that?
Which one?
Silverfin?
No, I have not.
Dude.
It's a Bond. It is a Bond
Dude,
book.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like young James
Huh.
Bond. I think there's a series of them. I didn't read more than
No.
that. I think there might be other ones though. I forget who it is because it's not by Fleming. I don't think.
So-
Well, it's definitely
probably
not.
not.
It's definitely
I
not.
think I have the perfect casting personally. I know Gooch is going to love this one. Mr. Tom Holland himself. As
Fuck that.
Would,
No, I
would,
hate
would you like
so
that?
much.
No, I truthfully, I don't necessarily think him specifically could do it, but I
I
think
would kill
going
him.
that young
I
He's
would
British,
not be.
right?
Oh yeah, he's
That's
very
what I was
British.
thinking,
He
yeah.
could I think maybe when he was in his 30s, you could talk to him
I
a
would
bit
like
more.
to see him as young Bond.
But like, do you think like a young?
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I actually, I
No,
personally
no,
wouldn't either. Like really, but like,
This podcast is
Have
over.
you- dude, have you seen him in
he's a great actor.
what is it, like
He
Devil
is.
All the Time
Yeah.
or something like that?
I heard Cherry's really
No,
good
I
too.
haven't.
Cherry is good, dude. I'm pretty sure.
That
I
was
Gooch
Yeah.
has a bit
Dude, yeah, I
of
did
a
watch that.
Holland hate.
Yo,
in his
he's-
heart.
No way.
He's like real deal serious.
No, he's
actor
an
when
amazing
he's-
actor.
Like,
Like,
if
I-
you've never seen that, like, I don't know if you went and watched the whole thing. It's like he's very good in those movies. Like I
Him
was like, holy
as
shit,
like a
this isn't
26-year-old
Spider-Man.
Bond
Like, yeah,
could work in my opinion.
yeah.
Truthfully,
he's
actually,
a little bit younger
like,
than us, right?
yeah, he's like
If
20.
they got him on that right now, like he's gonna be Nathan Drake. Like he could do.
I don't necessarily think that's going to be good.
well, but I don't
Uncharted.
think that's not
I
going to
have
be
a
good.
skepticism for.
Mark fucking Wahlberg.
But
is
let's put it this way:
such an
I don't think
odd
that that's not going to
casting.
be good because Tom Holland.
What's he gonna have a mustache and like white hair or something like that?
I think we found a transformer.
So apparently, like there was like set photos with him without the stash, and then like he posted this thing with
Mm-hmm.
a stash. He's like, "It's here, all right. It's here." Like he's
Hey,
like,
Drake.
it's pretty funny.
Say hello to
actually.
Elena for me.
Yeah, sorry for yelling into the mic, but
No,
yeah, I don't know, man. I
So
think
you were
there's a-
you were kidding about Holland.
sort of, but like truthfully, I knew Gooch.
Don't
that
put
would
it
get
into
right.
the
But
ether.
like, I actually wouldn't mind someone of that type,
Neither would
and
I.
I actually really wouldn't mind him personally because I do think he's a fantastic actor,
and I will-
and I do think
Every-
he is just he could play that kind of cockiness that James Bond does have sometimes if they want to go in a bit less of a. Do you think they go the same serious route, like super
Yes,
super serious?
absolutely.
That's what I don't know if they will.
I don't think we're
Everyone-
going back to
Because
camp.
this felt much more campy.
Oh well, yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like,
but I think he's kind of.
do you think this is as
I think
far as
that's
it goes?
to your
Yes,
to your
I
point.
think Craig has kind of deserved it, and he's kind of like the old trope where he's old.
Sure.
Nomi kind of pokes at him for like his knee and stuff, and like there's a lot of jokes about his age, and then he comes in and to the MI6 office, and they're like, double O's happen. Like, oh my god, it's Daniel Craig.
I think movies.
It's James Bond.
I think like nowadays movies do campiness is kind of out the window. Like it's people like serious like thrillers. Like people like that kind of movie now. Like I think we've just cinema in general has kind of evolved to a point where it would be very hard to pull off a campy or like funny,
like full
laid back.
Yeah, I think this is as far as they can go.
Yeah,
camp wise with it.
I think they'll stay within this like this tone. I don't know.
60s Bond with Tom Holland. He's going to Russia. Gooch will die. Let's go.
I'm trying to think.
I'd be so upset.
I'm trying to think. I have a hard time like.
Tom Holland's too young,
especially with actors. Like it's kind sometimes
he
I
looks
forget.
Too young for sure.
I forget people who are actually British sometimes, or like
like Tom Holland.
Like I'm like
everyone on the.
I don't even know who. There's people that I could like think of and be like, they'd be a cool Bond, but can they do a British accent? And I'm like, are they British?
They're British,
and I'm like nothing comes to mind immediately. But I've definitely when I've thought about it previously been like, I guess they could do it. And then they're either too old or they're not of that
or not of that
nationality.
Do we think they would ever do another Bond that's only like 2 to 3 movies?
Yeah.
Like, do you think they're sticking to this 5 to 6?
I think they like riding the name. And
I think they'll ride it out as long as they can. I don't think you necessarily need to be
like.
5
I think
to
they'll
6.
probably sign up for because didn't Craig signed up for 3? Like he had a contract for 3. I thought.
Did he?
And then, like after, because Spectre, he didn't have to come back after.
Yeah,
I mean, remember he
was
pretty down on that one after.
He was pretty. I wonder why. And he had.
I
Such,
think
he's had such a change of heart. Maybe Rachel Weisz came up to him and be like, "Listen, husband," and
maybe I also
Bond
probably
thing
think
is
it's this
really
thing of
cool.
like he realizes time's coming to an end. Yeah,
he sounded appreciative of like he's like.
And I feel like
so rarely do people get this opportunity. He was talking about it on that No Time to Die thing. He's like, people don't get this opportunity. Like I'm not. He's like, I'm not ignorant.
Well, and
to the
probably
fact that
spending
there are
these
starving
6
artists,
years,
and I have this opportunity to bring this.
And I
guy
think
to
a
life.
pandemic probably put a lot in perspective.
Absolutely.
You know,
I was literally about to say
again.
that.
This was the first movie that was delayed.
But you think about before. This was before the pandemic. Like I think.
What?
Like,
I mean,
you can't
that
even
last-
chalk his
yeah.
attitude change up to the pandemic.
Completely, but like, yeah.
Not necessarily, but I think it also had something to do with it. Maybe it gave him a new perspective on the role and the opportunity and like what this movie is.
My point is, it was already wrapped, filmed, done.
No,
Right.
it's true.
ready
But
to
even just
rock.
in his
Movie's
like
about to come out.
Interviews and stuff right now, I feel like he seems even more high on it than he was kind of when
Yeah.
this first news cycle came around. But I don't know.
There's another Knives Out coming out.
Yes, it's in
I
development
didn't
right now.
which I didn't know, and
Yeah.
I heard like a podcast I was listening to. Like, good luck to him and as Benoit Blanc in Knives Out.
He's great
sequel
in that role.
or whatever.
I
and
love
was like,
his accent in that. It's so good.
Yeah.
which I'm pumped for. I love that movie.
Yeah,
No,
isn't that funny that him and Ana de Armas are in that and they come
Did
back and No Time to Die. Oh, God, Plum. Fucking great. I love
is
it.
awesome.
God,
I don't remember
Ana
the
de Armas
line.
is such a cutie. What?
I don't remember the line in the movie, but he said something in No Time to Die where I was like, holy shit, that was Benoit Blanc talking right there. And it was like funny because this is actual speaking voice.
Yeah.
But I heard like a twang of that, like whatever you want to call
like,
that southern.
I know that draw.
like,
Almost,
I was
yeah.
like, holy shit. Like, obviously, like I know it's him, but like just whatever he said, I was like, dude, that you could have like put that line in
Absolutely.
Knives Out, and I would have been like,
would've
it
worked,
sounded like him. It was just goofy. Like, I had that moment in the theater. That was like the only, besides my mom pulling her phone out, the only
For
time
sure.
where I was like, whoa,
What the
out
fuck?
of it.
Yeah.
I like snapped out for a second, and I was like, oh wait, Bond, not Knives Out.
Yep.
Right back in.
Gotta love it. Well, guys, I think
Top tier.
that covers it.
That was a long one.
That was. It was a longer one. And, I
long
think
did we
that's
just rock
apt for Daniel Craig's last film.
What'd you ask?
About an
I was
hour,
asking
I
how
think.
long we rocked for.
Yeah.
I think about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you've been joining us live on twitch.tv/Delco Network, we very much appreciate you being with us. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We have all the social media pages as well. We're at Delco Nerds on most things. We have a Facebook page. We have a Discord channel where we even sometimes discuss James Bond. All this information can be found on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. You can even email us, delconerds@gmail.com, with all your comments, questions, or concerns. We'd be happy to respond. But for Casey, for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.